First things first, if you want your kind of tabletop setup to look exactly like mine, ignoring my lovely party members here, but like with the clutter that's overlaid on top of this table, you're going to want to look at Vile Tiles by Gabriel Picard. This is where the table background itself and the like clutter that's on top of it come from. I bought this pack for around $5 like 5 years ago on the Roll20 marketplace, and I've been using it ever since. Um, Even if you're not using Roll20, you can purchase and download the files in an archive of images yourself, and then you can just use them anywhere you would like. I've gotten like 10 times my money's worth, if not more, out of just one of his packs, and there's multiple. So if you are interested in this kind of look, please go support him. I have, you don't have to just do like this kind of appearance. I have another one. I think it's in this one. You can also do, like a kind of dungeony vibe. He has a lot of different assets, and they're all very good, very high quality. Um, I'm going to leave a link in the video description to his page and his Twitter. And I think that really it's these assets that kind of go over top of the scenes that kind of make it look like it was much more effort than it actually was. In terms of the backgrounds themselves, I get most of mine from ArtStation. I do not stream my games, so I just use whatever I find online, like I think a lot of us do. If you do stream your games, then of course make sure you have permission from the artist to use their work. Finally, these portraits of these handsome fellows. These are just my own art. I do portraits for all my players and most regular recurring NPCs in my campaign, specifically for these little RP vignettes, so everybody still has kind of something to look at, and I find that it kind of helps us all stay in character too if you're looking your character in the face. Um, my players seem to really like it. I do plan on making some free to use portraits in the future when I have the time, and I occasionally take commissions for them, but right now I'm a little busy. I'm catching up on some owed work elsewhere. Still, if you want to stay in the know for like portrait packs or something in the future, you can follow me on Twitter at VenusMage or Ko-fi under the same name for updates. Links to that will also be in the description. Now with that out of the way, the key functionality of the setup is token variant art. You need this module, no exceptions, if you want to be able to swap out art assets on the fly. For a small detail later on, if you are going to be using, like, say, portraits, for instance, you may also need the levels module. Both of them are free. Okay, so first thing you're going to want to do is create your new scene. I always go gridless, especially in these kind of scenes. And then you're going to pick your background image. The background image is this nice table back here. But whatever you decide your background image is going to be, that's what everything's going to rest on top of. So in this instance, I am going to go to my tabletop backgrounds, and you see I have a couple here. Let's use the rich wood one. And then your foreground image. Now this is important if you want like the special clutter and stuff. The foreground image is what the clutter is on. That's why it sits over top of these background tiles that have like the pretty pictures on them. It's important though that if you do make this clutter stuff, you want to make sure it doesn't obscure the image you're trying to show behind them. What I do personally is I make these little setups in a photo editor of some kind, like Affinity, Photoshop, Procreate, literally anything that supports transparent PNG files. Here's what this setup looks like in Affinity. So as you can see, this all sits on top of a transparent layer. And if I were to toggle the table underneath it, that's what it would look like before we put anything inside. With these specific assets, you can just drag and drop them into a canvas, arrange them how you want, and as long as you export them as a transparent PNG and you make sure that it is the appropriate size that you want, even though you could technically scale it, but I just try to keep them the same size so that it perfectly overlays the table, you will be golden. So for our foreground image, we are also going to head into my little tabletop background, and I'm going to pick the tabletop flowers, petals, and books one, which is the one you see here. Background color can be whatever you want. Whether or not you want padding is up to you. If you are going to have player portraits on the side, take note of your foreground elevation. The default is 20. I just happen to leave it at 20. Make sure that there's no token vision because I don't need that. And I keep forgetting to not make that my default toggle. And then hit Save Changes. Then let me go to new scene so you can see what's up here. And as you can see, it looks just like what I just showed you in the photo editor. So now comes the fun part. Now remember, you have to have token variant art and possibly levels installed. So with that in mind, we're going to go down to the tile controls, tile browser, and I'm going to go into, wherever your assets are stored. I call my little backgrounds splash screens because that's just what I call them. Let's do like interior manor place, and whatever first image you want, you're just going to pick any of them. So I'm just going to do that. Drag that here if it'll let me. Sometimes it's a little finicky in the beginning. That works. And as you can see, because this is a background tile, and it is it's a lower elevation than the clutter that's in the foreground, and so it just kind of has a nice little frame built right in. And as you can see, I can just move it around at will, and the stuff on top does not budge. Yeah, this is a underfoot tile. Also, if you right click on it once, you can actually move it around. You can even make it on top of stuff if you want to. This part is a default feature in Foundry. After that, you're going to want to, select it so it's highlighted in this little orange bit, and then right click again, and this context menu will pop up. There's going to be this little picture at the bottom that says select variant, and you're going to right click again. And then you're going to see this little search bar that says Browse Folders and Flags. Now you'd think you'd want to do Browse Folders, but what you actually want to do is select Flags. And then there'll be Image Directory, Set Flag, and then press this little button that says Value. And then we can pick from there whatever, and this is basically going to choose the folder that your backgrounds are inside of. Now I have mine sectioned by ward because I'm playing running a Waterdeep game, so it's Southern Ward, North Ward, Castle Ward, all that stuff. But whatever makes sense for your game, it'll select that specific directory. So you select that, then you hit apply, and it looks like nothing happened, but then if I right click again, click then right click, then click this, if you right click again, it'll just show this again. But if you bring up this context menu and then left click, there's all of your pictures. And then you can just select them and swap them out at will. There is a couple little constraints, like the pictures generally try to stay in the same dimensions or aspect ratio as the first one that you set down. So there might be instances where, if you had a particularly long picture, the next one might import like this. And so you might need to do a little bit of adjustment here and there just to kind of make the magic work a little bit. But for me, at least, that's way faster than having to either hide this or delete it and then open this again and drag stuff in and out. It just means that, if my players are going to the castle ward, then I can just click this and all of the castle ward pictures are going to be here, so on and so forth. Now if you want player portraits, I believe it is default now in the 5e character sheets that you can kind of toggle from portrait or token. I don't have specific tokens for these guys yet, but if I were to drag him here, it would register mostly as a token. Sometimes it might register as it might bring up that little default icon for that. But the thing is with these kind of you can use token variant art on player tokens as well. So you see that things like there again. And right now I already have this directory linked to the different players. You can use quick scale, or you can go into like the little um, token configuration to like get your dimensions in a way that you want. I think I usually do like 3 and 4, and then I just kind of go like this, something like that. But you might notice that right now he's kind of behind everything, just like the background layer is, and that doesn't look as nice. It kind of obscures him a little bit. But what you can do is you can go into the token configuration again, um, and see the elevation um, modifier right here. As you'll remember earlier, this foreground layer is at 20, so if I were to even simply just go 25 on his elevation, there he is, and now nothing's gonna kind of block him. He is fine as he is. And I can do this for pretty much anybody. Oh, there we go. See, and because she does not have a token, but I can just swap it to her actual portrait and do this again. It's nice too because I kind of have them in like almost like a staircase um, elevation, and there's some instances where I wouldn't want little Vale over here to be overlapped by either of the boys. But because I set her elevation at like 30 something, then she's also not going to be overlapped by the foreground or Caspian because her elevation is higher. If you are doing the specific setup with like tokens for character portraits and something, and you do the elevation levels on them, there might be an instance where you see little numbers in feet or meters above their head. And just the way that I happen to get rid of that is I use the levels module, and there's a hide elevation option, and you just hit hide for everyone, save changes, and it'll be clean. That is it. I'll try to answer any questions if I don't explain properly, but yeah, I hope you come up with some fun ways to use the token variant module for your games. I enjoy it quite a lot, and I know it's going to be saving me a ton of time.